Welcome back in. It is Friday, and there has been a lot happening over the past 24 hours, and our reporters are out covering all of it. Jennifer Lee is on the story that we were hearing about from the police officer. This is like a 25-year-old woman that was shot inside a building.
Yes, and she was actually at home. Apparently, she was awake. This was 3 o'clock in the morning, early this morning, and she was kind of moving around, getting ready for bed, according to Philadelphia Police Captain James Kearney, who is the commanding officer of the shooting investigations group. And he said that she was getting ready for bed when a bullet came right through the wall and hit her in her leg. Thankfully, he says she was treated at Temple University Hospital and she is in stable condition. But he stressed just how terrible it is. The violence, gun violence in the city of Philadelphia, it has consequences, and consequences that, unintended victims end up suffering from, like in this situation. He says that detectives from the shooting investigation group, they are out there in the community trying to talk with people, get information, and also seeing if they can collect surveillance video. But so far, he says that the people involved in this shooting, there were probably a dozen shell casings, according to him. They're looking for 4 males at this point, but they say if you're from that community, you've heard something, any bit of information would help. He wasn't sure about ages or other descriptions at this point, but it's something police are certainly working on. We were out in that neighborhood and plan on going back, and I did have a conversation actually through an intercom at the house where the bullet went through. We could actually see the bullet hole on the building, which, just thinking about that circumstance, it's wild. But it sounds like they're not interested in talking at this point. Obviously, this was so traumatic. Imagine being, in your room and, you're getting ready for bed and all of a sudden a bullet comes and hits you. So really terrible, but certainly we'll go back there and see if we're able to find any additional video or interviews from the neighborhood, especially after, their whole street was taken over by police for this shooting investigation.
Here, and you'll forgive me if we've already covered this, was it a drive-by? Was there were they shooting at each other? Because they keep referencing, more than one person. So was it like they were trying to harm each other and it's a stray bullet? Was it do we know any of that?
It sounds like they're still trying to piece together the exact circumstances. All we know is that it looks like there were 4 people there at that intersection where the shooting occurred. And earlier, when we talked with one of the chief inspectors, he said that the person was shooting indiscriminately and shooting up in the air, and that's how it reached a second-floor room and hit that woman. Captain Kearney also clarified it looks like, based on the evidence, that there were 2 different types of guns that were used.
Okay. All right. It's just, I cannot imagine being at home and this happens. And I, like you, very thankful that she's going to survive this. Obviously shaken, to say the least. Thank you. We appreciate the reporting. Now we're going to go to Joanne Pileggi. Basically a massive fentanyl trafficking operation based in Northeast Philadelphia is now under command in some way. Apparently, a lot of it has been recovered. You see her there. Good afternoon, Joanne. Tell us exactly what's going on.
Hey, Jen, this is really significant. Okay, just picture this. We walk into this warehouse in Northeast Philly today, and there on a table is bags and bags and bags of pure fentanyl. Actually, some of it may have been cut with some other nasty stuff. And news conference time, $2 million worth of fentanyl that was being processed, being bagged, and it would have been trafficked from this residential neighborhood here in Mayfair in Northeast Philly. So this is a significant, very significant fentanyl bust in Northeast Philly. This is the home where it was taking place in the 3100 block of Wellington Street in Philly, Northeast Philly. This was I was going to say joint operation, but it's much larger than that. This was Philadelphia narcotics detectives, Philadelphia police, the state attorney general's office, the FBI, federal drug enforcement. This is no small drug bust. It's a big deal, connected to a cartel somewhere in Mexico, Central America, Latin America. They made 3 arrests from this house on Wednesday. The neighbors say they watched police come up. We went up to the door. We knocked on the door. There's the storm door, which is glass. There's broken glass all over. So when the police went inside there on Wednesday, what they found were 3 people, and all of those drugs, again, $2 million, which is the equivalent of 2 million doses, little bags of fentanyl that would be distributed in Philly, in New Jersey, across the state of Pennsylvania, but now it is in the custody of federal authorities, state authorities, excuse me. Again, a very significant, I asked the state attorney general to quantify this takedown, this bust, and he said, again, $200 million worth of fentanyl in just one spot on one day in Northeast Philly. Last year, in all of 2025, they collected $50 million, or took $50 million. So $50 million in all of 2025, 50. Sorry for the mix-up of my numbers. Again, $2 million worth of fentanyl taken from this house. So what they also found was 1 gun, some cash, and again, these 3 people inside the house, and they were pretty much cutting up these blocks, these kilo blocks of fentanyl for distribution. So that is the story. We have knocked on some doors of neighbors here who said they saw some activity but stayed inside during this takedown on Wednesday. We will have more information from the Attorney General, from Philadelphia Police later on. Any questions from you? Sorry about the mix-up when I was quantifying, but it is just a staggering, really, when you think about it, the proximity to Kensington, which is one of the obviously largest drug capitals in the United States, right? There's so much fentanyl and so much heroin and xylazine down there. So this effectively removes that distribution. But as we've been told, you know, one drug group, drug runners, they leave and others just pop in. But again, the police tell us that they have to stay on top of this to try to keep this, what they call poison, off the streets, out of the hands of so many people who are addicted and need treatment and end up overdosing, right? It's a rough story.
You're doing well. I know it's tough. And we think about fentanyl, we think about it, you just kind of referenced it being cut into other things, being cut into, you know, in New Jersey and in Colorado, it is legal to use marijuana. We know that fentanyl is cut into those things, and it is never good. So it's really dangerous.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I did ask, you know, I asked one, there was a bunch of law enforcement there, from local to federal officials. And I quietly wondered, there were so many of them there, police officers, detectives, et cetera. You know, they do this work all the time, and you know that the drug problem really permeates everyone, all families. And one of the law enforcement officers said, sure, you know, I've been to some funeral members of close family members and friends. You know, I don't think anyone is immune to having known someone that has fallen victim to the opioid crisis, fentanyl, xylazine, what have you. So, you know, it trickles down everywhere. And again, this is, you know, a big catch for law enforcement to take this much fentanyl off the streets. So
all right.
That is
well,
the story.
thank you.
We'll have more on at 5 and 6.
I just love that we're doing this story. We're touching people who need to, you know, hear this story, and I love what the authorities are doing. They're able to move in there, and hopefully they can, you know, try to just chip away and do something that's really needed. All right, thank you, Joanne. We're going to take a quick 2-minute break. We're going to be right back. We do have a lot more. Oh, gorgeous. Stone Harbor? Yeah, there you go.